Ryan Kellip here, go ahead.
So what does the extension mean to you?
It means the world to me because it just shows the commitment to women's basketball. And, I'm excited for my future at Arizona. And, it's just a great opportunity that Dave and President Robbins have given me.
Is this something that you approached them with, or they approached you with?
No, I didn't approach them at all. Something we've kind of been talking about for a while. And, Dave Hickey loves to make things happen fast. So Dave and I have talked and just excited about the direction of the program. And I know he's been so supportive of women's basketball and myself as a coach. So it's something that he approached me with.
So what's so exciting about the direction of the program?
Well, I mean, the program has changed so much. And I think it just shows their commitment to women's basketball. So it means a lot to me. I always, work hard. Definitely, I bleed red and blue, but, they're committed to women's basketball, committed to me. And Dave has believed in me since, he's been here. Because, remember, I was hired by Greg Byrne, but Dave has just been so supportive. He's at all my games. He's invested in women's basketball. He's provided a lot of resources for me over the last few years. So, the fact that he's just committed to our program, it says a lot, and it just speaks for our future.
Greg Hansen, go ahead.
Was there someone along the way who planted a coaching seed with you, Adia?
Well, I just have played for so many great coaches. It's funny because when I was playing pro, I was 25, and I remember I was in Israel. I was in Tel Aviv, Israel, playing professionally, and Joan had an opening. And I was like, heck no, I don't want to coach. I'm playing. It's way easier to play. And I was having fun. And then she had another opening, this would have been in like 2000, probably 3. And then another one, I think in like 2005, she asked again. I was like, no, I'm not ready to coach. I didn't know at the time I wanted to coach. I thought I could play forever. And then I started to think when I was getting ready to retire, I'm like, what am I passionate about? What do I love to do? Well, I know I love basketball. I love mentoring. I love impacting women. And so I just said, hey, I'm going to try it. But I didn't know if it was what my passion was going to be. I didn't know if I'd actually like it. And I took the job with Kevin McGuff, and I just fell in love since then. So I always say I haven't worked a day in my life, because when you do what you love, it doesn't feel like a job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
DJ Brown, go ahead.
Adia, what does it mean not only to have this extension, but to get it today, a few days before you're taking your team back to the NCAA tournament? You're sitting in San Antonio getting ready. I mean, what does that mean to you?
I think it means a lot regardless of what the timing would be. But I think after, we've had a good year, after what happened last year, this should have actually been our second year in the tournament. So it just shows me that there wasn't a rush. It wasn't a situation I was like, you got to rush and give me an extension. It wasn't like that at all. So I think it just shows that for them wanting to be so anxious to talk about it and just excited about me, I think it just shows their commitment. So I'm extremely happy, and I'm extremely grateful. Whether it would have been now or in 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. I'm just happy to be at Arizona. I'm happy to be coaching the Wildcats for the future.
And even though you said that you guys have been talking for a little while and about different things, were you sort of surprised that it happened right now?
No, because I never really thought about the timing. I just kind of knew it's a place I want to be, knew that they wanted me here, and that, they were committed to me. So I didn't really ever think about the timing. I think just things went by fast because both sides were ready to really go to the next step. And so I don't, whether it would have been now or in a month from now, I'm grateful regardless. I'm in a special place. And so for me, I never really thought about the timing, to be honest. I'm just happy it's happened. And it wasn't like discussion. It wasn't like back and forth. It was like, here it is, here I'm happy. So I'm grateful. So there wasn't much discussion about it.
Rich Herrera, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Adia. Congratulations on the new contract. And again, we're carrying this live on the radio again in Tucson. Was there any hesitation when Dave Hickey brought up an extension, or were you like, let's go, I want to stay here for a long time?
Yeah, no hesitation at all. That's what I'm saying. So I'd never thought about the timing. I never gave a second thought. It's where I want to be. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that someone says, oh, here's, and I don't really, I guess I've never been through those processes. I haven't been a head coach 20 years. So, you know, I had a couple more years in my contract, so there wasn't a rush, but you know, when the program's excited about me and you know, Arizona is, so I am grateful that they're excited for me and they see a future in what I'm doing here. So I'm just more humbled by that. And so I never thought about the timing. I'm just happy to be here, happy to do my job. And it's funny when I hear like 2026, it seems like it's a really long time, but the 5 years I've been here have gone by really fast. So, you know, I'm just happy to be leading us to the next step in the future.
How complicated was it? How long did it take you to come to an agreement?
I mean, not long at all. That's what I'm saying. So it wasn't some long drawn out process. You know, it was just like a few days.
Obviously, Dave Hickey approached you, wanted to keep you with the program. You've expressed your interest of wanting to stay with the program. Were there any, I don't want to use the word demands, but were there any requests that you had in the contract and things you wanted to see in the new deal?
No, because I'm someone that that like those small, I just don't get caught up in the really small things because I don't think they're that important. I know I'm doing my job and I know we're doing a good job. So for me, it's like, I feel like everything falls into place the way it's supposed to. And I think that, you know, I think I've proven myself at Arizona. I think when I first was hired, you know, I wasn't ever a head coach. So I had no leverage or anything because you got to go prove that you can do the job, right? But I think our program is done well in every area. So I don't get caught up in all the small things. I believe when you do your job, everything else comes into place. So I don't feel like in my career, I do what I love. I don't want to ever be in a situation where I have to go work out every minute, like fine detail. Because I think that when you're wanted by people and you want to be somewhere, I think it works out and it's effortless. And that's how it was here. So that's really important to me. If I have to be at a job where I'd say this, and we have to like go back and forth about all those little things, it's probably not the right place for me because then I don't think I'm wanted as much as I want to be.
How does this affect the stability of the Arizona women's basketball program with this commitment from Dave Hickey, particularly your coaching staff? And I think there's somebody on your staff that's pretty special, your assistant coach, Salvio. What were your conversations when they approached and how happy is he?
He's very happy. Salvo loves Arizona. He loves everything about it. It feels like home. Salvo is he's very attached to things. So me, I'm a little bit, like it's my alma mater, but I've lived all over the world. I've lived in 13, you know, not 13 countries, like 8 countries. I've traveled all over the world. So he gets more attached, you know, because he's only lived in a couple places his whole life. So he's happy. He loves Arizona. He loves the community. He loves everything we've done here. So he's really, really happy for our family. I mean, our lifestyle in Arizona, the weather, the community, all those, everything has been wonderful. So I can't think of a better place right now.
Have you made it official to the team? How did you let them know, and what was your reaction if you've told the team that you're going to be here through 2026?
No, I don't talk about those things. So for me, it's like not important. It probably is in the scheme of things now that I think about it, but that's not something I'd ever say, oh, to the team I signed it. I just don't talk about those things. And it's funny because one player came up to me and gave me a hug and congratulated me. And it was Trinity. And no one else mentioned it. I didn't mention it. Like, I didn't really talk about it to the staff. I just, because that's like that's personal. And I just kind of, that's not the focus. The focus is the tournament. It's not about Adia. It's not about the contract. It's like, that's just something extra. And that's on the side, but we're not thinking about that. I don't talk about that stuff.
Kim
One
Doss,
last
go
thing.
ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
Talking about that stability idea, I mean, your name has been thrown out the last couple of years. Every time there's a big job, people still walk away from extensions. But how important is that for your recruiting to say, I'm going to be here for a while?
It's really important because you think of right now with COVID, everything has moved up. So already 2022s are pretty heavily like committing. And usually it can be pushed back another year because of visits and so forth. But now, you know, we're in the dead period till June. So I think it's made timelines move up. So more stability in the program is good just for the future of the program. I think, last year I had a lot of questions about me leaving, or every time like some job came open, I don't know how my name was on a lot of lists. So sometimes I wouldn't even know it was on a list till a recruit would ask me. I was like, oh, where'd you see that? And they saw it on Twitter, of course. But I think it just says a lot to the commitment that, President Robbins and, our athletics director, Dave Hickey, has to the program and to women's basketball. And it's important. Like, we're not going to be successful if we don't have support. So it just ensures stability, support, and people want to come there. I think we've proven that we can compete at the highest level. So people want to come to Arizona. It's a desirable place, and it was not 5 years ago. So now it is. And so I'm happy to be a part of that.
Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach Barnes, is Michelle
Hi.
Vogel from ESPN. I want to congratulate you on this. And if you'll forgive me, I actually have a different question. It's just from a timeliness standpoint. There's been a lot of talk today on Twitter and things about the disparity of the weight room situation between men and women. And it looks to be incredibly stark, the difference.
Oh, it is different. I tweeted that out yesterday.
What do you think? How are you and other coaches? The NCAA has said they're going to try to fix this, if you will. But what are your thoughts on that? And especially as a former player, knowing how the women have sort of had to battle to have a lot of equality, and here we are dealing with this again. Like, have you talked to other coaches about it, and do you think the NCAA will address this adequately?
Well, they addressed it and put out a statement. I just saw it after practice. I was pretty surprised. Someone showed me and I was like, wow, because I never thought the disparity today it would be so large. But I think that to me, there was no thought into that. And I don't think there should be such a big disparity. The fact is, when I look around the convention center where we just left, there's plenty of room and there's plenty of open areas, which I've walked through plenty of them. So I think that that's just not acceptable. Someone dropped the ball on it, it's fine, but we can fix it. So nothing to do about it now, but fix it, because that's just not right. And I think that, we have a long way to go. Everything's not perfect, but the fact that people care enough to tweet about it, for it to be an issue, is very important, because 5 years ago, this would have been the same situation. No one would have said anything about it. So does it have to change? Absolutely. I was embarrassed when I saw it. That's why I tweeted it yesterday. It's not okay. But I think that there's a lot of things that aren't okay. And I've realized that being a mom and, being on lockdown here with a baby, there's just a lot of things that have to change, but it takes people like me that we're pro players, we're on both sides, and being a voice for things to change. But yeah, it's not acceptable.
And I guess to that end, because like you said, you were a player back in the 90s, and social media, wasn't a thing. In some ways, is that a good thing that players and coaches, that you guys can get that message out? And we had this with the WNBA to some extent last year to fix things, and that makes things happen a little more quickly, perhaps.
No doubt. So yesterday was brought to my attention. I think the Stanford strength and conditioning coach posted it, and then I retweeted it. So I have 10,000 followers. Someone like, Dawn Staley retweets it. She probably has 100,000 followers. So it's just, I don't think there would have been a statement this fast, and I don't think it would have been addressed so fast years ago. But it's not acceptable. It's not like there was a smaller room. I mean, literally ours was a dumbbell bench and theirs was a full Olympic training center. That's not okay. And so I just think there has to be thought in that. Like, this is a big thing for women, the NCAA, and there's so many disparities. And I think that's just one small thing, but there are a lot more that it just needs to change. And there's a lot of voices out there, and people care now. They didn't care 5 years ago. They didn't care in the 90s. They care now. And the fact that the NCAA responded so fast, I think that's good. And I think that's meaningful.
Thank you, and congratulations again on your extension.
Thank you.
Greg Hansen.
Adia, what's your perspective on 5 years ago, you left a powerhouse, Washington. This week, Washington makes a change, and you're getting a new 5-year deal. About how things change so quickly.
Yeah, I think that a lot of everything is the right time, the right place. I'm a true believer of, I sent a tweet today, like, everything happens on his time. I think everything happens on the right time. I think I came to Arizona at the right time and the right situation. I think not every situation is the best for different people. And I think fortunately everything aligned. Ari came here, then TT, Dominique. I was fortunate to have some good players come and help with the build. And I think that as a coach, if you make certain decisions, it could cost you your job. And it's not good or bad or indifferent, but it's just how it is. And the thing that I always talk about is when we sign a contract, we sign 5-year contracts, because usually this, like in Arizona, you're only allowed to sign a 5-year contract. That's the Board of Regents thing. But you think of like my work, it took up until year 4 to have all my players. So really, when you think about a 5-year contract, it's not fair to do a total rebuild. You're usually not going to rebuild in 5 years, because if you don't get all your players till year 4, you still have to have some success. And usually you're starting that success in year 4, unless there's transfers or someone just is a phenomenal player that you maybe didn't expect. But when we first get our jobs, you're not getting them in great situation, or else the job's not usually open. Usually you're not going after a legend. You're usually going after the program's just been bad for a while, right? So I think that it takes time. And if you don't have support from your administration and you don't have time, it's really hard to be successful. And so for us, we're fortunate it happened faster. But I talked to Corey and Scott and Kelly when I first got a job. It takes 6 or 7 years to get your culture, yet alone win games and be a contender for a championship. So I think the process takes a lot of time. And if you don't show that progress, you don't have time. And we always talk about women in our profession don't usually get second chances. If you look at women from Power 5 jobs that get let go, you look at Texas, you look at a lot of other programs, they don't usually go to another job right away. And that's unfortunate in women's basketball.
Rich Herrera?
Following up with what Greg just asked you, do you think you're ahead of schedule of where you are today and where you expected to be when you took the job?
No doubt. Definitely. I think that I expected to be in this situation at like year 7, maybe year 8 if I last that long. I think that because, like I said, I didn't have my whole team and players are recruited till year 4. And then it takes time. Usually it takes 6-7 years to establish your culture. Like we still in year 5, we have a very good culture, but it's not a championship culture yet. It is coming there because you're just starting that success. Like now Ari leaves a legacy. Now they learned from Ari, Maddie has, and Trinity's left her mark, but that's already going to be in year 6 when like that culture is pretty much, it's becoming a championship culture, but it takes time. And you look at programs like Tara at Stanford, it took years and now they have that. Like we're working to get there, because for me, it's very important that it's sustained success. I don't want to be good this year and then go to the bottom next year. That's not what I want. And that's not why I'm here. I'm here to win. I'm here to build something special and sustain it. And I think that's one of the most challenging things to do in our field.
One last question. I asked you the other day when you found out you're the number 3 seed, you said your phone blew up, everybody texting, saying congratulations. Who have you heard from now that the extension has been announced, and how much is your phone blowing up?
Well, it's blowing up. I honestly haven't had time because right when it got announced, we went into practice. And so I haven't even seen Twitter or anything. And then I had to walk over here really fast to get to the press conference. So I honestly haven't looked. I haven't even told my family about it. Everything just kind of happened fast. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really talk about that stuff. I don't get caught up. I'm really happy, grateful if someone saw it, but I'm not like calling my friends. It's kind of more private. Nothing can be private because our jobs are public. But if it wasn't public, I probably wouldn't really talk about it, unless like a recruit asked. It's just, I don't know. It's just the way I am, I guess.
So since the number 3 seed came out, who was the most surprising person that you heard from that sent you a message of congratulations?
Most surprising.
Somebody that really meant a lot to you.
I think they all mean a lot to me because all my friends that know what Arizona was like when I got the job, but like, Jeff Jansen, like friends of mine for many years I don't talk to all the time, left me messages. I think they're all meaningful in different ways because it shows me people are paying, like, who I got a message from, which I thought, like Sean and Amy texted me, Sean Miller and Amy Miller. Jason Terry, we've been friends for like 20 years. He texted me right after the selection show. Those are all, they're really meaningful. Like Dave was at the selection show. all of our executive staff. So I just appreciate all the support and love, because people don't have to do that. So I think I was just happy to get the text, and not really surprised because they're friendships, but I just know people care about us, and they care about us doing well, and I'm just happy.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you. Bear down.